this shit. Code.
If it's sparks, then it's gotta be.
Respect, loyalty, and honor. Rules that we play by. Know the streets watching, so we move below radar. Harsh times help us learn to master the chaos. Separate the real from the fake since I was yay high. Don't joke with my money, if you owe me, better pay guys. Bang, bang, my nigga, yeah, that's a known trademark. You don't want it.
Hello everyone, good evening. How have you been? Welcome to another edition of Microbiotics About Talk. This is your usual host, Tayo Fasun. And this evening we'll be moving into a new About Talk topic entirely. We'll be introducing ourselves to Phyto medicine, which we can also refer to as Herbal or traditional medicine. It's actually one of the major areas that we are concentrating on in microbiotics, and with the incoming summit to be organized, the first summit ever to be organized by WHO about phytomedicine, about herbal medicine, all the way in India. I think it's very imperative that we start talking about them here, so that we'll be able to have an idea of course, all of us already have an idea about what herbal medicine is, but let's of course shed more light on it. So, herbal medicine is actually very common practice around here in Africa, in Nigeria, and according to WHO, it is the knowledge, skills, and practices based on theories, beliefs, and experiences which are indigenous to different culture and which are used in the maintenance of health and the prevention, diagnosis, improvement of treatment of physical and mental illness. It's a lot of definition, but that kind of captures it. So, of course, it's a little bit, it's different from the conventional modern medicine that we know, because the focus of traditional medicine is on the overall condition of the individuals that is presently sick, not on the disease from which the person is suffering from. So that's one of the major differences, or even perhaps the major difference. And realize that most practice of a traditional medicine is focused on the symptoms, on relieving the patient of whatever symptoms that he or she is presenting with, instead of actually focusing on the disease or the causative agents and the like. So, and of course, over the past few, should we call it decades or century, there has been mass development of chemically synthesized drugs, and it has kind of overshadowed the concept of traditional medicine. But we've already found out that a large section of the population of developing countries are actually relying on herbal medicine. For instance, there's a statistic that shows that 90% of people in Africa and 70% of the population in India depend on traditional medicine to meet their health care needs. And that's also what is experienced. One or two, in fact, personally, if you go home, you still meet even those of us who are a little bit educated. Of course, you just say, man, I'm sick, I've been experiencing this. Do you have any things you can recommend? Recommend some roots, some leaves, some bark, some stuff that are of traditional medical help, so that one can use it to ameliorate the symptoms that one is feeling. And even though this is experienced more in the developing countries, we've also found out that it's not actually a matter of should I call it developing countries alone. The uses of traditional medicine has found its way. They have found ways into even industrialized countries because of the study of what we refer to as ethnobotanicals. So, and the reason for this is very simple. Apart from the reason that it's the use of traditional medicine, apart from the uses in African or developing countries, even in developed countries, the reason why traditional medicine is actually very commonly used is because, number one, it is affordable. They are very, very affordable, more than the chemically synthesized drug. And of course, they also closely correspond to the patient ideology. Like, okay, this is what I'm feeling, and this treatment is going to relieve me of these symptoms instead of focusing on the disease itself. And also, it's allays the fear of adverse effects. This is actually very critical because most patients, once you talk to them about chemically synthesized drug, they are always very concerned about the adverse effects, about the contraindications and the likes. So they will be, but this is not usually the case in traditional medicine. And another point is the fact that it also satisfies a need for more personalized health care. This time around, the person offering traditional medicine, we actually tailor it to your need. Yes, we tailor it to the need of the individual that's actually is in need of care. So people tend to kind of find that likable. And the last one is that it's also allow public access to health information. Now, like for instance, now most people are well aware of of course, if you travel home, you're going to hear someone say, oh, this sleeve is actually being used for this one is actually being used for this. The information is actually well circulated, so a lot of people kind of find it relatable to actually use traditional medicine. And of course, the major use of herbal medicine is actually for health promotion and also found to be therapeutic for chronic infections, chronic diseases. So it helps in alleviating chronic diseases. You find a lot of people having solutions to hypertension, to arthritis, to high blood pressure, all those chronic issues, heart diseases, and instead of the regular ones that we know that usually of let's say communicable diseases. So, but the usage of traditional remedies increases when conventional medicine is ineffective in the treatment of diseases, and this is one of the other major reasons. Even though people kind of are skeptical of traditional medicine, but most of the time when the conventional modern medicine is not actually effective, the trust is usually being put increasingly in traditional medicine to help them solve the case. And since traditional medicine are being perceived as natural and safe, then it is viewed as okay, that it's not toxic, it's not going to have any adverse effects, even though this is not true anyway. This is not true completely. We have a lot of issues with herbal medicine or herbs having toxic effects on the body. So, and of course, currently there are many herbs that are used in the treatment of chronic and acute disease condition. And of course, like I mentioned, we have treatments for cardiovascular issues, for prostate problem, even for depression and inflammation. In fact, during COVID, we heard of the fact that a lot of this herbal medicine are used in boosting the immune system. So these are part of one of the usefulness of herbal medicine. And of course, we have different ways in which they can be taken. You can take herbs, you can take them as whole, you can take them as tea, syrup, essential oil, you can take them as ointments, you can use them as capsule or even tablets, or even in powdered form. And you can use a lot of things to even extract them. You can use ethanol, you can use water, you can use aqua, you can even boil them. Yes, you can boil them. All of us are familiar with boiled concoction for malaria. Yes, for those of us who are very so, and that's because these plants are rich in varieties of compounds that are good as secondary metabolites, and they are very, very, very useful to the body. Although there are no standardization, but it has been found that the producers are usually the one in charge of giving the necessary amounts that the patients we need, regardless of the materials that the person is using. So, and of course, because of this, we have a lot of products that are coming from herbal treatments, even the conventional drugs that are being produced from herbs, anti-malarials, antipsychotic, antihypertensive drugs that are actually being produced from herbs. So this makes herbal medicine actually very, very important. So, and of course, increasingly these days, herbal medicine have been found to be very useful in the treatment of cancer. It's actually a whole because of the inability of conventional medicine to actually treat cancer. A lot of researches are going into the treatment of cancer using herbal medicine. So we should be expecting more from that, and we'll be talking more about it as the week goes by. So, and of course, increasingly, a lot of herbal medicine are being prescribed worldwide, and we hope that with this recent summit that is to be done, we'll see a lot of improvement from that area to be able to make that practice actually acceptable worldwide. So let's call it a day now. We'll call it a night. We'll be talking more about it as the week runs on, as the week goes on. So we'll talk more. We'll let you know more about herbal, phyto, and traditional medicine. So have a lovely day ahead. Have a lovely evening wherever you are. And make sure that you stay safe, and God bless you. Have a lovely day and lovely evening ahead of you. Bye.
Yeah. Respect, loyalty, and honor. Oh, yeah.
Respect, loyalty, and honor. I saw the track title started cracking up like leaky ceilings. These are things that Lagos guys are lacking of. They say they love you when you stacking up, but the boys surrounding niggas with drive and never backing up what they say. Loyalty promises I received by the dozen. True. Told me they'll be there when I needed them, but they wasn't true. Into upcoming traffic, they shoved it.